the woman who has perfected lifestyle, beauty, and balance, Ms. Lauryn Evarts Bostick, creator of The Skinny Confidential, is with us today. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Also seen in the latest issue of the Influence magazine. Have you seen this issue of Focus yet?
I cannot wait to Instagram story this.
Right? You look stunning. You always do.
Thank you.
Gorgeous.
Thank you.
Your hair's a lot longer. It looks so gorgeous
so
both
fake.
ways. I love it. Thank you for being so real. Oh my God. Honestly, I love this girl already.
It's fake here too, but you know, it's like to hear.
I love that. Okay, I gotta say that I love you already. Like you have, like we just had a conversation for 1 second between, and you were talking about how your last blog post, you're just basically talking about how the whole industry needs to get real. That the blogs out there, the picture of some girl walking in the street, you know, pretending like she's not having a picture taken of her, is like, okay, guys, come on, we need to get vulnerable here.
Totally. I think it's okay to pepper it in, and I love beautiful content, and I've always been a fan of putting out really quality content, but at the same time, I think that it's really important for my industry to tell their story. You know, I think people are craving more. They're craving more connection and vulnerability, and the person that they're following needs to be worth following. And it can't just be like about your outfit and what I ate and what I wore. To me, like it needs to be more about the community and about the value that you can provide to the people that are reading your blog, and also like letting them know about your real story and not just showing like this facade.
Can you tell us a little bit about your story? Because I know that you weren't always the Skinny Confidential, and you know, didn't always have, you know, hundreds of thousands of followers. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I actually went to San Diego State University after high school. I was doing what you were supposed to do, the textbook, you know, go to college. And there's always something in me that was like, why do I have to do that? I've always wanted to beat to the tune of my own drum, but I did, you know, what I was supposed to do and went to college, and I was bored out of my mind. Wasn't just not fulfilled. And I can remember the feeling of just being like, is this it? You go to college. I was bartending until 1 a.m. and teaching Pilates and Pure Barre and just doing what I was supposed to be doing. And it was just not enough. And so I realized very early on that I was entrepreneurial, and saw that these sororities on campus were charging women like $800 a semester to be a part of them. And I didn't understand that. I'm like, isn't there a way to connect these women for free and make a community? And then I took it a step further and was like, how can I connect women everywhere? And this is when blogging was not cool. It was like nothing. This was 8 years ago. So I was working at this super lucrative bar in Rancho Santa Fe, and I remember telling this guy that I was going to be a blogger, and he laughed at me. He thought it was the funniest thing ever. How are you going to monetize and make money? He's actually the inventor of the airbag. So wow. I always tell this story because it's like people, you have to really do what works for you, and if you have an intuition on something, you have to follow it. So that's kind of how it got started, launched 8 years ago, and it's been something I'm working on ever since.
What has been your mission with this?
The mission has definitely been to inspire women to be the best version of themselves and kind of be an example and a role model for a lot of girls that are reading my blog, but also connecting them together so they can kind of make their own friends within the community. We have a secret Facebook group where it has nothing to do with me. It's all about them meeting and them hanging out and them making the connection. And that when that group launched, I kind of was emotional about it because it's the one thing I've been working so hard to do, which it's like, again, it's not about me, it's about them making friends, them doing meetups. That was kind of what I wanted from the very beginning.
But you have done an incredible content library of tips, tricks, tutorials, ways that you're contributing to this community beyond just creating it. You're kind of leading it. I mean, some great tutorials right there. That jade roller, got one.
Got one.
Yeah.
I ordered one because Jez told me to order one.
Yes.
So would you remember our story, Ange out there who's starting a blog? Do you feel like it's kind of too late for somebody? Do you feel like I mean, obviously anything's possible. We know that true. So yes, but don't you think it's maybe a little bit harder than it was, say, 5-10 years ago, getting into a blog? What suggestions would you give to her out there?
I don't think it's too hard at all. In fact, I find it really weird that anyone would tell bloggers or influencers that as an influencer. I think that what I want to do is inspire people. I think that it's absolutely not too late. I think, sure, you're probably going to have to work a little bit harder to stand out. And I think the way to stand out in the saturated market is to find something that's so niche. Right. And your bracelets that cover the rubber band that we were just talking about, that's something that's so niche. She's going to be able to really stand out and shine. I think if you can find that as a blogger, and find something that makes you different. I always say, like, if I was a blogger now, I would create a handle called @TargetGirl. And everything I would wear would be Target. And what the goal would be is to eventually work with Target, then develop partnerships with Target, and then maybe my own line in Target. So that's like how far down the line and how much strategy you need to think. You can't just like put pictures out and expect to stand out as an influencer. It has to be much more than that, but I don't think it's too saturated.
No. So, Ange, there you go. Here's that's specifically a coaching thing that only you would know, being in the blogging world. Like, that's amazing.
Yeah, I think she should go for it.
Yeah, I love that.
So powerful. Did you by any chance see this video? There's a young man, and he had brain cancer, and he created this video because he always wanted to be a Nike athlete. And so he put this video together and said, I want to be a Nike athlete. I'm 300 pounds overweight. I have brain cancer, and I'm not going to give up. I don't know how much life I have left. He creates this video, it goes viral. Nike finds it. Nike turns him into a Nike athlete. And his video got more views than any of their $1.2 million advertising campaign videos.
It doesn't surprise me at all.
It's a perfect illustration, though, of what you're saying.
Yeah, it totally doesn't surprise me. I think, too, he put himself out there in a way that was vulnerable. And again, I think right now we're craving that. You know, we're going like this every day. There needs to be something that's a little bit more about connection, and he totally did that. So I think that's cool.
So powerful.
If you look at your Instagram, everything's black, white, rosé, picture perfect, right? It's beautiful, super on brand, on point. What's been the biggest challenge for you in doing this, in building this business?
Ooh, the biggest challenge, I think, is how consistent you really have to be. It's like I wake up and everything I do in the back of my head, it's like, do I need to Instagram story this? Do I need to Snapchat this? Like, you almost feel guilty for not sharing with your audience everything. And that becomes kind of a mind F. Yeah. F word. Because it's you just feel like you're constantly having to be on. So what I've had to do is learn that I'm like a cell phone. I have 100% charge, and it goes down to 1%. And when it's down there, I need to step back, recharge, and just get off social media for the day. But the consistency of creating content, it can be a lot, but I think I love it, and I'm lucky, and it's
You know
amazing.
what I love about your blog also is that you get really real and vulnerable, and then you also get very entertaining. You have one that's on steaming your vagina.
Yep.
Right? Like,
Steaming your vagina.
Right? I mean, it's very entertaining and vulnerable at the same time. I love that.
Yeah, steaming your vagina. We talk about boob jobs, birth control, sex. We talk about coconut lube. My husband just launched a brand that's coconut lube that all started from the Skinny Confidential. Just kind of everything. It's a very I like to say it's like the encyclopedia for 19 to 35-year-olds, and it's just like an open conversation.
So you just mentioned your husband. Recently you got married. Tell us about the wedding.
The wedding was planned in like 1 second because I'm a huge procrastinator. And we were engaged for 4 years, and it was very, very chill and nothing to do with social media. It was 50 people, and just
It looks
quick.
beautiful.
It does look beautiful.
Oh.
It was very, very off social. Like, I didn't want any cell phones. We just kind of got drunk for 3 days.
How did you and your husband meet?
We met when we were 12.
Wow.
12 years old, we met at elementary school, and we broke up in high school and got back together after college. And he is definitely very entrepreneurial as well, so it works.
And you're the epitome of a power couple, though, now.
Oh, thank
right?
you. That's
I
very
mean,
nice.
you've got the him and her podcast. It seems like you're integral in each other's businesses. What's the secret to working together like that?
It's hard. I mean, it's definitely something that's hard. It's practice, because it's a whole different element of the relationship. It's a whole different dynamic. So now it's 11 o'clock at night, and he's asking me questions about work when I should be shutting off. It's definitely a dance, and it's something that I would say is something you really have to practice. That it does not just come naturally, at least for us.
Wow.
Any tips you'd have for folks that are trying to work through relationships in general?
I would say that don't settle in a relationship. I think it's really important that if you're in a situation where you feel like it's not the right person, get out. I'd rather be single than be settled. And if you're in a relationship and you're trying to work together, I would say just practice at it, be patient, and listen. When he starts talking, I just sit back and listen. Sometimes I'm sleeping with my eyes open. I'm just patient.
Huge. Love that.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's next for you both? Recently launched Dear Media. Tell us a little bit about that and what you have coming up.
Yeah, Michael launched Dear Media with Digital Brand Architects, which is an influencer management agency in LA. DBA is someone that has helped change my career. They came into my life 5 years ago, and what they do is they structure brand partnerships for influencers in a way that makes sense to the influencer. So they're not bringing me collaborations like Flat Tummy Tea or Sugar Bear Hair. It's things that I really use, I really like, and they streamline it. And now they've decided they want to do this for podcasters, because podcasting to me is the next wave, because I think it's selling time. And podcasting you can do on the go. So I think a lot of things are going to start to shift to audio. So they launched Dear Media. It's a podcasting network for women. It puts women in the forefront. And we're really focused right now on bringing other people up too. I think that it's great to have a top podcast, and that's awesome. But I think we wanted to take it a step further and bring other talent up as well. So it's launched. It's really cool. We have some great talent like Adderall and Compliments, The Bitch Bible, bunch of different women. And
Jillian Michaels, that was great.
Jillian Michaels came on our podcast.
Yeah.
She's really cool. Really, really real.
Wow.
Which I love.
And so the industry, you see it going to podcasts, you see whatever. You talked about another app earlier. Where do you see the industry going?
Podcasting is going to be huge. It's so undervalued. The advertising on it is just, if I was a brand, I would be looking at every single podcast to advertise on. The conversion is insane. I actually think it's even more insane on podcasts right now than on blogs, because when you have someone in your ear talking to you, it's a different thing. And again, you're selling time. So you can say, Alexa, play a podcast, you're cooking dinner. You start to develop a more intimate relationship with the influencer, which is, again, more of that connection that people are craving. So it's a very different thing. I think that if you're an influencer and you're out there and you feel that you have a personality and something to say and something to take a stance on, then you should definitely look into podcasting.
What was that transition like for you, going from a blogger to then YouTuber, creating video content, now podcasting? Was that an easy transition?
It was seamless, just because I'm such a chronic oversharer. It's something that's it's so easy for me to just share. It's I feel like that's what I do for a living, which is kind of strange, but getting on a podcast made sense. What the dynamic though was bringing my husband in with it. So that was kind of that was overwhelming at first, but now it's really fun. We just really want to have every episode provide tools and tactics for our audience that they can apply to their own life, and just really give them so much value, because that at the end of the day, as an influencer, in my opinion, that's what you need to be doing. That's your job, is to give them value that they can go apply. And I say, leave what you don't like on my blog and take what you like and what works for you.
I love that. Well, we're running out of time, but how would somebody get involved? If they want to get involved in one of your courses, or they want to get involved with you business-wise, how would they do that?
I don't have any courses. I have a blog design company right now where we build other bloggers' blogs, and then that's called BlogDo. And then my husband has Dear Media, which is the network, and you can just DM him on Instagram if you're a podcaster and you're interested.
And then the Facebook group you spoke about.
The Facebook group is the Skinny Confidential. That's my brand. You can come on, you can hang out, and there's so many women in there. I think there's 30,000 women, and they have different meetups from all over the place.
Incredible. Wow.
I love it. Really inspired by your story. Incredible.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I love it. So you guys want to come back and hear another woman's story about her business she started that is going to get you motivated for whatever you are lining up for your dreams. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.